Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. So in this video I'm going to go through my team selection for game week 8. I'm going to talk about the players that make that starting 11, those that I'm going to bench, looking at a transfer I'm going to make as well, and talk about captaincy because I'm thinking of going against Haaland this week. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, give it a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and in the meantime, let's take a look. Let's have a quick recap on how game week 7 went then before we look at the side for game week 8. Onana got me 2 points. Disappointing to lose that clean sheet against Palace. Turner actually outscored him, but it was never going to be an option. That Palace fixture looked too good for Manchester United. In defence, I got clean sheets for Dan Burn. Saliba had a flag on him. He ended up playing. Burn was a minor doubt, but they both came in with 6 points. I was fortunate enough, I think, to leave Estepinian on the bench. I actually dropped Chilwell transfer-wise and brought in Ashley Young just because I'm wildcarding in game week 10 and it looked like those Everton fixtures were just too good to ignore. So that didn't pan out. 1 point. His underlying stats still look good though, and I'm keeping him in for that Bournemouth game. More than happy to do that. And Udogie at home to Liverpool picked up the 1 point. Again, was never going to be first choice defence. With Burn, Saliba and Young having such good fixtures. Moving into midfield then, Odegaard absolutely stole the show, 17 points, and Saka with 9. That just went like a dream. Lots of people taking Saka out because of the injury doubt. That really worked out well. Saw they got the late news that he was on the coach, kept him in. Sterling had a virus on the other side of the coin, so even though I had 5 players flagged and he wasn't one of them, he ended up not starting. But the fact that he came on actually prevented Estepinian making my lineup, so actually saved me a couple of points. Foden and Toner both blanked. Haaland, who's captain, blanked as well, but Alvarez got that free kick. Nicholas Jackson was suspended. So I ended up with 56 points. Low scoring week actually gave me a red arrow. So I was green arrow. So I was pretty pleased with that. Overall rank 766,000. So moved up about 150,000. Got 1.1 in the bank and a transfer to make. So let's have a look at how my side lines up for game week 8 and what I intend to do with that transfer. Even though Turner's got a fixture against Crystal Palace, I'm actually going to go for Onana in goal against Brentford. That looks pretty good. Ashley Young will keep his place against Bournemouth at home. Dan Burn, West Ham. What a legend he's been. I mean, he scored in the Champions League and away at Sheffield United the other day. What I wouldn't do with another goal from him this week away at West Ham as well. Dougie's got a great fixture against Luton. Saliba I intend to keep on the bench because he's obviously got Manchester City, and Estepinian's been ruled out for a month, so he won't be making this side for the next few weeks. In midfield, I do have that flag on Saka. Always wary about those flags. He seemed to play no matter what, but he did come off early in the European game, so we'll just have to keep an eye on it. He keeps limping off early, but then rolling him out for the next game. You feel that City game is so important to Arsenal. They will want him, but we'll wait for some team news and press conference from Arteta before deciding. Odegaard, Man City, he's been brilliant, but it is the toughest game that they're going to get this season, except maybe for that reverse fixture. Sterling, I absolutely no confidence that he's going to start. He should be fit and ready now, but with Chelsea having won and playing so well against Fulham, with Mudryk scoring, Cole Palmer on the other side and Broja up front, I'm just not sure they'll change that top 3 unless, with a little bit of luck, one of them has picked up an injury that's going to keep him out this weekend, and again we'll have to keep press conference news for that. Foden, difficult fixture for Manchester City away at Arsenal, and Matoma, Liverpool at home, not the best fixture either. Up front, Alvarez and Haaland, and I've got Jackson away at Burnley, but again with Broja scoring and starting the last game, I'm not sure he'll play either, so he'll stay on the bench because I just don't get any assurances, unless I get any assurances, and it's unlikely from Pochettino that Jackson will take his place in that side. So as a sea of red, I don't really like it. This game week has been coming up for a while, and I think if I just come out of this with even a small red arrow, I'll be pretty happy. But because I'm dead ending this side in game week 9 next week, wildcarding in 10, I've got a couple of short-term punts and options that I can do. In terms of captaincy, with this side at the moment, I don't think there's any obvious choice other than Haaland. I could go Saka at home to Man City, but it's just a case of whether you think Man City are going to score more against Arsenal away than maybe than Arsenal would against Man City at home. Doesn't feel like there's a lot in it, and just with Saka not having the assurances of of actually being fit, I think I'll just go Haaland. But there's no other choices. I think if there's 1 week I'm going to go against Haaland, this is it. And maybe the transfer that I will make will be that opportunity to go. So if Saka, for some reason, we get news that he is not available, he is touch and go, maybe I'll just bite the bullet. He comes out and Son comes in. Now, if Son comes in, he's definitely a captaincy option. If Saka does play, I've also got the option of taking out Odegaard, because the fixtures against City and Chelsea just aren't fixtures that I'm particularly interested in holding these Arsenal assets for. Definitely after this, in Game Week 10, I'll be looking to bring some back in. But these two games are about as hard as they get in the next few game weeks for Arsenal, and I don't want them. Whereas Tottenham's fixtures look fantastic for the next couple of games weeks. So Son would have to come in for one of those Arsenal players. That's the only way I can afford to bring him in. And suddenly, if you take out Saka, bring in Son, that side doesn't look quite as bad. And I think if I'm ever going to go against Haaland, and I can't remember the last time I did because I haven't owned Salah, then with Arsenal away, that's about as hard as it gets for Man City. And then Tottenham have such a good fixture with Son in form, away at Luton, on pens, up front. I don't think there's ever going to be a time when I won't captain someone else if I'm not going to do it this week. It just looks like a sensible call. However, it's just in the back of your mind, isn't it? Because of Haaland's ownership, I don't know, should that make a difference? Whether it should or not, it does weigh heavily on your mind. I want to protect this rank in the next couple of weeks before attacking the wildcard, and this feels anti that. But then, what an opportunity it could be to go against Haaland. So I am leaning towards that. I'm leaning 60-40% towards Son, and I definitely want Son in this week. The alternative is, if Saka is fit, I didn't want to go for Odegaard. I could take Sterling out, especially if I don't get news that he's going to play. But I couldn't afford to get Son. It would have to go to Maddison. So Maddison would come in instead of Sterling. He's not the first choice. I definitely would want to go Son over Maddison. But again, I'll keep those Arsenal players. I don't know whether I want to do that. But considering that possibly Foden might get a rest and Alvarez was in midweek only rested, I hope, they would both... I'll be struggling to get a side out. Saliba would have to come in, and I'm not even sure Jackson would start either. So suddenly, I'm struggling for players. So Maddison coming in for Sterling suddenly gives me a little bit more leeway and protection. But otherwise, I'm risking just not getting 11 starters out for this week, although I know Saliba would. But I'm just not sure about Sterling, and I just definitely don't know about Jackson. So Saka means that if he is playing and Odegaard's playing, do I just go for them, keep them in because they're playing? Game week 9, I would therefore have Son potentially would come in, and so would Maddison for the Fulham at home game. I could do that. Both Arsenal players come out, and that looks pretty decent. That's one of the main reasons why I'm just not going to wildcard in game week 10. When I do go and wildcard in game week 10, I can jump on those Villa, West Ham, Liverpool players where their fixtures turn. So that has always been a plan, and that's what it would look like for game week 9. And again, there is a conversation to have over captaincy. Haaland at home to Brighton don't look good defensively or great defensively at the moment, but then Son at home to Fulham is tempting as well. I think maybe this week's fixtures against Luton might determine how I'd feel about game week 9 and going against Haaland. If Haaland blanks and Son gets a brace or something against Luton, I don't know, maybe I'd feel much more confident going for Son, thinking that even if Haaland scores, Son could still match him, or even better, outdo him. And with his differential, well, not a differential, but with his lower ownership than Haaland, maybe I could really jump rank high. But fixtures look alright for 9, and then 10 would be attacking with the wildcard. That's it for this team selection video then, guys. Let me know in the comments below what your plans are for game week 8. Who are you bringing in? Which players do you think are essential that you should be looking at to captain this week? In the meantime, we'll come back at you next week with watch list, team selection videos, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and in the meantime, good luck with your game week 8.